Hello and welcome to Communities Live. It is indeed a great place. You're listening to Sheffield Live 93.2 FM. My name is Lawrence Peacock. Joining me in a packed studio, we have Will to my right. Give us a holler, Will.
Hello guys, what's happening?
He's so loud, he doesn't need a microphone.
No, I don't. I am that fantastic. That's true.
Which is handy because we don't have enough. Also, sitting opposite me, we've got Sean, graffiti artist, and Theo Garvey, a filmmaker. Welcome, chaps. Welcome to the studio.
Hello.
Nice to be here.
Thank you.
You sound overwhelmed. Come on.
Nice one.
Yeah, Sam, thank you very much.
We will be talking to these two chaps very shortly about a film which Theo has made, all about the history and I guess the future as well of graffiti in Sheffield.
Hopefully.
Yeah. And
the
Sean,
future of everything.
Future of everything.
Yeah.
He's got ambitions. Just guys, got ambitions. And Sean will be telling us what it's like to paint on a wall in the rain.
Yeah.
Amongst other things.
It's
hopefully.
wet.
Hopefully coming up later in the show we'll also be speaking to David Bond, the director of Project Wild Thing, which is a film which premiered at the Sheffield Doc Fest recently and aims to get children out of the computer and into the great outdoors. So it's a bit of a themed film special for today's show, so hopefully we'll be talking to David Bond a bit later. But before all that, we're going to have some music and Sheffield's own The Crooks.
Sheffield Live. Made in Sheffield, made by you.
That was The Crooks there with Afterglow. Welcome back to Communities Live on Sheffield Live. Now, guys, we've got a packed studio full of people who know an awful lot about graffiti, and we're going to have a little chat. Theo, Sean, thank you very much for coming in.
No problem.
Theo, you've made a film called Sheffield Graffiti Kingdom.
That's right, yeah.
Tell us why you made the film and why Sheffield is the graffiti kingdom.
At the time of making the film, I didn't know Sheffield was the graffiti kingdom. I grew up having a mad passion for the graffiti when I was very young, going around taking photos of it, recognising the names from one place to another, the continuation of that guy's tag and stuff, and just really liked it. Took a lot of photos, but was very young then. I was like 11, 12. Years later, when I became a filmmaker, I watched something on telly that was a bit about graffiti, and I thought, oh, I could easily do something like that. I reckon I could, well, not easily, but I could track down.
Give it a go.
I could track down some of these guys and put together a small film. What was just going to be a small film, maybe for just online viewing or something, quickly grew into a feature-length documentary. I met more and more and more of these guys that used to do it, that I used to see plastered around the city when I was young, and through them found out, and after researching that, in the late 80s, early 90s, Sheffield was the European capital for graffiti, unofficially, but it was titled Sheffield Graffiti Kingdom.
It's not the sort of thing the EU sort of recognises, is it?
No.
Graffiti capital. We obviously weren't there. We were a bit young, but one man who was Sean. When people say the graffiti capital, can you conjure up for us what that was like? I mean, because we see a lot of street art these days, and graffiti's gone a bit mainstream, but it was a bit more gritty back then, wasn't it?
Yeah, graffiti, it's just like something you just go around, you do it wherever you want, really. Wherever you want to mark your territory or put your name on it. And back then, Sheffield, it was just covered. There wasn't a place really you could go out seeing graffiti. Every single bus, trains, walls, everything was just really hammered. Everyone had just wrote all over everything. There was a big crackdown on it, sent in the ground busting squad and all the graffiti police. They tried stopping it all, but they slowed it down, but it never went away. It's something that never goes away, really. There were times like Fister, he got arrested, he got 5 years, which were too tough a sentence for something just scrolling on walls when you look at other crimes that happen in the world. But now it's not more legal, it's more seen as an art form, which takes it out of it, really, with all the street art and stuff. Like, we've been doing it years now. You've got people that just come out of college who can pick up a can and think they're like a graffiti artist and stuff like that, and they're not. Not in my eyes.
That's something that the film makes a clear distinction on, the difference between graffiti, which is an illegal activity, and street art, which is sort of like sanctioned and mainstream. I was just wondering, like, back in when it was the graffiti capital, how many people were doing it, and what were you telling yourself when you were painting other people's city? You know, what right did you have to spray on this wall or this train when, you know, there was thousands of other people living who don't want that, you know? Well,
it was like a culture that just came through from America. People had seen like Style Wars DVDs and stuff like that, and everyone, the youth at that time, it was a thing to do. If you weren't breakdancing, you were going out writing on walls and stuff like that, and it was just going out and putting your name wherever you could to get seen. It was just that own bit of recognition for yourself. Some people just did it because it was just their way of doing stuff, vandalising.
And was there like a code on like what you could paint on and what you couldn't, and what was acceptable?
I mean, some people do have morals, like churches and people's own public property, things like that, because at the end of the day, people work hard for the living. You don't go out and destroy their living. But like council run stuff and government stuff, it's
fair game.
Yeah, fair game, really.
And Theo, how did you get interested in graffiti, and how did you think about making the film? What was it?
I've always been a very creative person, enjoyed art, film, music, that kind of thing, and I think, and also the hip-hop culture. I've done a lot of music in my time and stuff through hip-hop and battle rap and that kind of thing, and it all goes hand in hand with the kind of culture that I'm interested in. Hip-hop and then art, and just big, mad, colourful things on walls.
Do you see it as a form of like self-expression, or do you not like that, talking about it in that way?
No, all day it is a form of self-expression, If I did it, if I was a graffiti artist, I'm sure that my style would reflect me personally and be an extension of my expression, And
then, because in the film you interview loads of graffiti artists, and a lot of them talk about sort of the reputation that you get and the recognition as you go, as you're painting around the city, and it's all about sort of marking territory. What's that all about? Where does that impulse come from? What do you think?
I'd just say it's just at the time it was important to them. It was like their Pokemon cards. I see it as like when we were growing up, everyone had Pokemon cards. Obviously we grew out of Pokemon cards, but I just see it as something. At the time it was a mad fad for these guys, and they never go out of it and never had a reason to go out of it. Like, why would they if it's a part of their life so much? Is that answered your question right?
Well,
really.
And like, because Sean, what's the appeal? You've obviously haven't grown out of it.
Yeah.
When did you start?
I don't mean grown out of it as in it's a childish thing to do.
No.
Like Pokemon cards is a childish thing, but graffiti isn't. It's something that you would progress more and more through the years. So if you've been doing it for 20 years, you're at a point now where you can blow someone's mind by what you spray on a wall.
I'd say I've been doing it now for 24 years or something like that. I never thought I'd be doing it at this age. I don't even think my mum and dad had thought I'd be doing it at this age, really. Times you tried to put me down for it and that, and nah. If anything, it's just going to get more and more, take more of my life over. than what it used to be. Like, a lot of things have happened these last few years, and it's something I just want to carry on doing. If I could afford not to work, I'd not work and just do graffiti all the time.
Because you've travelled with it as well, haven't you? Sort of gone on holiday and painted other places.
Yeah, we go quite often, really, around Europe and stuff. Went to Brazil last year. Next year we've just booked to go to San Francisco and LA, going around there. So I like to take it wherever I can take it, really. It's end of the day, it's your name. You take it where you can take it and try and make something from that name. I'm not bothered about making money. It's just, that's me. I've been there. My name's there.
Yeah. Do attitudes vary then, depending on where you are in the world? Is that what you found, Theo, when you looked at it?
Well, I've not really explored around the world. I've never been anywhere. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not.
You go around Sheffield.
I'm not from a world where I make enough money to be able to travel the world, and I'm always pretty busy with projects in Sheffield and stuff. But from the attitude I get, these guys have gone to, like you said, Brazil, France, San Francisco, gone out painting with people that can't even speak English, but there must be some kind of universal graffiti language.
It's just the bond with graffiti, really. You can go anywhere in the world, and if you meet another graffiti writer, then that's it, really. You've got a place to stay, you've got food. And it's vice versa. If anyone wants to come over here, I'd gladly put them up, supply them food, a roof over their heads for a week or so, or whatever.
So it's a bit like music. You can sort of travel with it, and it's international language. Yeah,
that's all you have to do. Shake your spray can, and then that's it. If they're a graffiti writer, you've got somewhere to stay.
One of the really interesting and really poignant moments in the film, I thought, was when one of the graffiti artists was talking about how his baby son had died, and he'd started graffitiing the boy's name. Yeah. And there was a recognition that those walls wouldn't be touched for a certain period of time out of respect. And I think it sort of showed that it's not just, well, you can dismiss it as vandalism, but there's more to it. Yeah. And there's that important element of like self-expression. I thought it was really interesting.
Not even to a point where when it's Dial, the artist Dial, he wrote his son's name Milo. If he wrote that on a wall, they would have never gone over it. It would be there forever.
You've got your own respect amongst each other, really, as writers. We're not just people who go out vandalising. I mean, we have got arts and we have got morals at the end of the day, and like that's shown through that with Milo's piece on the wall. Like, the pieces on that ball coat don't usually last like 2 or 3 days. That lasted a good few weeks, and then it took upon himself. Then he'd decide when it went over. Yeah, and that happened for any graffiti writer, really. If they had some turmoil in their life or something like that, then everyone would be together with each other.
Do you think, because there was a crackdown in the 90s on graffiti in Sheffield, obviously a lot of people weren't happy with it. Do you think we've reached like a happy medium now in terms of, because you've got certain legal spaces to paint and attitudes have changed, especially with
street art? I reckon they have to an extent, not fully, but to an extent a lot more. Yeah,
and I think the only reason it's changed is the boards that we've been getting given as legal spots are nothing at all to do with the council. I mean, there was an instance with some boards where there was a picture of a lady bent over in hot pants in building gear, all commissioned and paid for by the building company. They were happy with it. Council made them take it down because said it was like a bit
much.
Yeah, but it wasn't. You've got a big Gossard Wonderbra advert across the road from it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Say,
exactly. How does it work? You know what I mean? The council, if they had their way, they'd been honour it. I don't think it's only because some companies are liking it and it's brightening up their area. They're not having to maintain their property. We're maintaining it for free.
I've found it hard trying to promote this through certain newspapers and radio shows and things that have made out like they wanted to have involvement with it and do a story on it and stuff, and then it's like materialised into nothing without really saying too much. Same with certain festivals in Sheffield that have put the film in. They don't want to show it.
So although attitudes have changed, but graffiti is still out, it's still on the periphery.
I think that even if that person personally thought this is a wicked idea, but I don't know if I should put it out because the people that read my paper or come to my festival or listen to my radio station, they might not approve of it and it might give us a bad name.
Yeah. I've had instances where I phoned up about painting some car parks in town, and the guy I spoke to says if it was up to him it wouldn't be a problem, but the guy who's in charge, he says you won't have a prayer with him. The council is so like anti-graffiti sort of thing, they don't like to see it.
Can you see their point of view though? You know, they can't.
I can, but then when you speak to Joe Public and they're like, well, it's a bare space. If you're brightening up with work you're doing, which we are, they enjoy it all public. The amount of people that come past taking pictures and stuff, they love it. But the council, they'd rather just see a grey boring wall. They're not like, they're doing what they want rather than asking people what they'd like to see. Because like times change, people move with the times. Back then, graffiti like 20 years ago were frowned upon. Now, different people have come through and more and more people are taking to it. I mean, they're teaching it in schools and stuff like that. back when I was at school, if you even did it on your school book, that were it, game over.
Yeah. Do you guys make a distinction between street art and graffiti, and can you explain what it is? Because people will just see somebody's painted on a public space, they might not make a distinction.
Graffiti to me, it's more letters and stuff like that, and you've gone out there and done it illegally, and so can have permission to paint your own, paint a pretty picture of someone's head or whatever on building. And like, but on a positive side with street art, it's giving us more a chance that we can get away with doing what we do. People think, oh yeah, it's street artists, and then by the time we're finished, they're like, oh no, it weren't.
Yeah, as much as these kind of graffiti artists that do the illegal stuff, they have like their opposition to people like Banksy and stuff, painting elephants pink and doing stencils and that kind of thing. Like, and as much as I personally don't see it as graffiti, I can see why. Even when I've been promoting my documentary, for me to say it's a documentary about graffiti and street art, and people are more open to it. Oh yeah, of course, street art. That's what Banksy does. Oh, everyone likes street art. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think there's an element that graffiti artists want to be outside? They don't want to be accepted as street artists.
I don't want to ever be accepted as it. I hate it. I do. I really do hate it. It does me head in.
Why are you so? Because it's the same activity, you know. In one sense.
Said in my previous, I'm not a street artist. I'm a vandal, and that's what I do. I mean, some people might like my type of vandalism. Some people might not. I don't do it for other people. I just do it for myself.
So is that the distinction? It's like if you're a graffiti artist, then you don't care about consent. You don't care about that legal boundary. Yeah. And that's part of the buzz.
Yeah, sneaking like into training yards and stuff like that, middle at night, and going out late at night when everyone's in bed and stuff like that. That's the buzz. Stood there just doing a legal wall. There's no element of risk or buzz in it, and that's why I do it.
But that's how me and you became friends, sure.
Yeah, I mean, there is a time and a place. But don't get me wrong, I will go out and I paint someone's bedroom for them, for the children. But the money I get from that will go on money for paint to do stuff that I want to do. Yeah.
It's just one of the things about the film that struck me is that they're all men. None of the people you spoke to were women. Is that because there are no women graffiti artists, or you couldn't find them, or what is it that
I found them after? Yeah, no, obviously when I was doing that graffiti documentary, I was just tracking down the people that I'd grown up seeing. Right. People like Des and Mist and Dial and Curse and Jaya and all these guys, Bombs and stuff that I'd seen myself growing up. I'd been out of the loop really taking photos of it for like a good 8 years or something. So I was just tracking down the guys that I personally used to know, and then I met up with a couple of guys that were more new school through that. And then once it had done, I had lots of people coming at me saying, oh, you're going to do another documentary? And it's like, well, no, really, that was just like a part of my life that I wanted to just solidify in that one documentary. But yeah, since then I've met quite a few girls that do it, and not even just graffiti, kind of like the bridge between street art and graffiti, where people do like big murals of nature and that kind of thing. So yeah, I've met many females that use spray cans to express their art, whether it's street art or doing graffiti. Since then, yeah, there's quite a few in Sheffield.
Is that tendency to tag when you write your name in however style you want, is that a masculine thing, or did the women do that as well? I was just really interested.
That's how everyone starts off, really. You start with your tag and then it evolves into, like when you've seen me doing that work down Sydney Street, that's just a tag just made bigger. Put more swirls on it, more colours. It's just a bigger version of your tag, really.
It's just their little signature, what they do, the little signature. Yeah, even when they do the big piece, they'll still do the little same tag signature in the corner.
So when you guys are walking around town and you see graffiti, you're just seeing people's names and where they've been, and you go, oh, I know that guy, or I know that girl.
Yeah,
must make it quite a friendly place.
Oh yeah, I reckon.
I see. You know, like you'll know when you're walking down the street, like, oh, he's such and such and that. He's from such and such town or whatever. There's people from different cities. When they come, they'll always leave them out once they've painted, and you'll walk around. Like the other day, we're painting boards. A guy from New York turned up. Says, "Oh, is it legal to paint?" Like, yeah, you can paint on here if you want. When I got some paint, that were it. He were off painting with us, off putting his motor around city.
There you go. It's fascinating, guys.
It's a nice little culture.
Some
decent people, some crazy people. We had graffiti, I wouldn't have had half the life I've had, I wouldn't say.
Right.
I've met people that have done it for so long now that it's so much a part of their life that the house is full of it. They've got paint on every item of clothing they wear. But I wouldn't want them any other way. Like the passion for it is wicked.
If people want to get a copy of the film, you're having a launch party on Saturday. Aren't you? Tell us about that, Theo.
Well, we've already screened it. We screened it to like the people that was involved with it, but we ended up having like 250 people in a small cinema. Absolutely ram-packed, bought the bar out and everything, and they all really loved it. So yeah, it's time now to release it to the general public. On this Saturday, basically, will be the first place that people will be able to grab it. We're doing a big launch party at Bar 27 on Boston Street, just off London Road. And basically, we're doing it there from 8 p.m. onwards. The DVDs are £10 each. You can come and get it, and a lot of the people involved will be there. So I'm sure if you want to get your DVD signed by the guys in
music
it,
and
they'll be cool with that. It's getting released by Deranged Industries, which is a company that I worked with when I was very young, doing special effects in film and stuff, and now I've kind of hooked up with them, and they're releasing the DVD under their banner. But yeah, we're going to have break dancers, and it's going to be a wicked night. Breakbeat, hip hop, if you're into that kind of thing, or you just want to check the DVD out, come down 8 o'clock onwards.
Get yourself down for a drink.
Sounds good. Thanks, gents. Thanks
yeah,
so much
no
for coming.
problem. Appreciate it.
Our pleasure.
Good luck with the film, and stay legal.
No comment.
Well, I will.
We'll have a bit more music now. And this is the